Beautiful, Ruth. Thank you so much. And that takes us to the next speaker. So we've had all the adjectives and they should all come into play for this next session. We ought to be attentive, innovative, agile, okay? So let's listen to Idowu Akinde, who is an IH trainer. But before he tells us, he gives us his presentation, I would like us to introduce him so that we all know him very well. And housekeeping rules as usual, please type your comments in the chat session. Questions, please make a lot of questions, okay? Because you have brought on these trainers and facilitators. You need to gain much more, not just from their presentation, but you need to gain much more from the questions you would ask them, because the question you may ask may lead them into a different direction for this presentation. So thank you. So I will introduce Mr. Idowu. Welcome to today's program. Mr. Idowu is fondly referred to as coach, is widely respected, a thought leader in technology and entrepreneurship circles, and has nearly 2 decades of experience leading multi-million-dollar product teams to success. As a founder of the digital co-creation firm, Boolean Labs, Idowu brings to the table a deep understanding of digital product development, spanning both enterprise and startups, and cutting across many verticals: the financial services, banking, insurance, fintech, telecommunications, aviation, oil and gas, agriculture, consulting, professional services, and education. Idowu is also the Africa chapter lead at Hyperledger, where he leads the effort to increase the awareness and adoption of business blockchain on the African continent. He is frequently sought after as a speaker on startup building, product development, and technology. This is just but a few of what Idowu will bring to the table. So let's listen to him, welcome him so that he will give us all the details that he has gotten ready for us today. I welcome you, Mr. Idowu, a coach of all coaches. Thank you for coming and accepting the invitation.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I did interact with a subset of the innovators yesterday, and I was pleasantly surprised. I liked what I saw in terms of hunger. Can you hear me? Can we do an audio check? Is my audio good? Okay, all right, good. So
yes, we can.
I liked what I saw yesterday in terms of the hunger and the desire to create something really, really, what's the word? Impact. Okay. Can you tell me if you can see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Thank you.
Thank you. I see heads nodding. All right, so today we'll be talking about, but before I go into that, so sometimes that intro feels a bit intimidating. Please feel free to call me ID, okay? Feel free to just consider me a fellow entrepreneur, a fellow innovator, a fellow ideator like yourself. Despite all of those things that you heard, I'm currently running a startup. It is my 3rd startup, but I'm currently running a startup. I'm currently launching a startup. That's doing some stuff. So feel free to prepare questions for the Q&A session. or just, relate with me, like you would another colleague of yours. All right. So today we'll be talking about something that I am optimistic that after this session will become, literally speaking, your best friend, your new best friend when it comes to innovation and ideation and launching new products, new digital products. That thing is called the business model canvas. Okay. In the work that I do, right, coaching startups at Brilliant Labs and beyond, I've observed that I think that not enough credit is given to this simple tool called the business model canvas. Okay, it is an extremely, extremely powerful tool because it helps to, and you will see this in the following slides. It helps to capture so much information about a certain candidate idea that you have among so many other ideas. And then you can say, out of my 5 or 7 or 16 ideas, if you're one of those geniuses, harebrained geniuses, this one looks like the most promising. This one looks like the one, with the greatest bang for buck. This one looks like the one with the greatest returns on investment. Let's invest in this, because everything you commit your time to is an investment. So I am black. I am wearing I think it's a blue shirt with a white collar. I wear glasses. I have something like a rimmed pair of glasses. And my team name is Megamind. Again, awesome team. I met them yesterday. All right, so just without much further ado, today we'll be talking about the business model canvas, and we'll be taking the classic approach of looking at what's the 6 W's. Okay, so what is it? Why? For whom is it useful? Where is it useful? And finally, how? Right? How is it? How do you use it? For that last question, how do you use it? I have a Google Slides page link, okay, that I'm going to share, and then I will project my screen. If it's convenient for any of you to follow along as I project, you can do that. But if it's not, then we can, then you can sign into that link later and play around with the template. I understand that there will be a breakout session where the different teams will have an opportunity to practice what we're learning here. So we're going to do a bit of both, and that's the kind of knowledge transfer. I typically don't like using the word training. That's the kind of knowledge transfer that I like. Okay, the type that teaches you the principles, some kind of theory, but then follows it up immediately with something practical that you can take home, like a tool, a technique, a template, a framework, something you can use, something you will use today, and you can take home and you can start to use it for the rest of your career. So 1 second, please. There you go. All right. So what's the business model canvas? Okay. Like I said earlier, okay, so you're looking at like a snapshot of what it looks like. Okay. It is essentially a strategy tool. So whenever you have an idea, okay, so for those who have worked with me sometime in the past, you might have become accustomed to the statement that I always say, oh, you have an idea, welcome to the club. Ideas are a dime a dozen, right? Because, hey, having an idea in the 21st century, actually, you don't deserve any kudos, you don't deserve any applause, right, for just having an idea. Because there are so many, many, many more things that you need to add to that idea that will even help it see the light of day and hopefully become a success. One of those things is this particular tool that we're discussing today, the business model canvas, okay? So the business model canvas is a strategic management tool, okay? The business model canvas is a tool for strategic management, okay? We will pick out some of these keywords shortly, and you will see how, compared to other tools, it is one of the most important and one of the most useful tools that you can have, in the process of innovation, entrepreneurship, ideation, digital product development. Okay, what does the business model canvas help you do at a high level? Whenever you have an idea, okay, and you've kind of achieved some degree of comfort or validation as to the compelling nature of that idea for the target market. The next thing that you need to quickly establish is whether or not that idea makes sense business-wise. In other words, you see in many frameworks, is it a viable business idea? Is it economically viable? Is it financially viable? The business model canvas is one of your best tools. In fact, back in the day, some people call me a dinosaur. Far back in 2007 and thereabout, I used to write a lot of business plans. And if you're familiar with business plans are traditionally usually not less than, at the very least, 50 pages, right? Because you have to detail so many subcomponents, operational plan, strategic plan, marketing plan, blah, 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 stuff like that. Now, the business model canvas, in layman's terms, I could also define it as a modern one-page layout to the traditional 50, 80, 150, 120 page business plan. Because everything that you would traditionally document in detail in a business plan, the business model canvas today gives you the opportunity to document all of those things at a very high level on one visual layout. At the end of the day, it's just one layer, excuse me. It's just one layout, okay, that's divided into 9 sections. And then you see that those 9 sections are the building blocks or the components of pretty much every business, okay? So if you can really, really think through how those building blocks and those components work together, you will have addressed many, 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 many of the critical questions to answer, concerning viability of a business idea. So again, what's the value? Viability, okay? So some keywords. It allows entrepreneurs to describe old models. Okay, so for instance, there is a business that has been running for 5, 10, 15 years, but they are currently seeing that they need to pivot or transform in some way or the other. The business model canvas is an absolutely fantastic tool for them to document their current model and create, okay, ideate a new future model. And if it makes sense, they can go on and execute on it. So, and it's just as useful for existing businesses as it is for brand new businesses, whether they're small businesses or they are startups, okay? So you can use it to describe, document, assess, illustrate, visualize, challenge, and pivot, business models. So keywords there. The business model is a strategy tool. It is not an operational or tactical tool, okay? Now, there is a very, very similar canvas called the lean canvas, okay? The lean canvas is designed for operations, okay? So typically, where you would have documented and created and launched your business using the business model canvas, when you now get to the point where you need to start to operate and administer the business, then you can go for something called the lean canvas. Many times, as I've interacted with many startup founders and entrepreneurial teams, when I ask them, hey, can I see your BMC? Can I see your business model canvas? I've seen them present to me a lean canvas. And I always have to say that the lean canvas is slightly different. It is an operational / tactical tool, but the business model canvas is a strategic tool. It helps you lay out all of the building blocks, all of the components, all of the strategic elements of your business. It helps you communicate to key stakeholders, and we'll get to that slide shortly, right? The strategy, whether or not you have a sound strategy to achieve your goal. Okay, so let me just move quickly from there. Now, last point to note is that the business model canvas is a free template. Okay, was designed by a company, by two geniuses, 2 Dutch geniuses. Forgot their names now, but their company name is Strategizer. Okay, and the link is available there. You get the link, after the session. All right. Why the business model canvas? What's the purpose? Why was it designed? Okay, 2 points. The first point is it helps you to break down your business model. Like I said earlier, it helps you to compose your strategy from the building blocks, the traditional 9 building blocks of every business strategy. Okay, think of it as a shortcut to an MBA, okay? But essentially that's what it does. It helps you compose your business, whether it's a new business or it's a pivot of an old business. It helps you compose all that business strategy from the 9 traditional building blocks. That's one. Number 2, it also helps you communicate how a certain business idea that you have, what's the word, is doing, relative to the 9 foundational strategic elements. And what are those 9 foundational strategic elements? There on the screen: the customer segments, the value propositions, the marketing and delivery channels, the customer relationships, revenue streams, key activities, key resources, key partners, and cost structure. Take a note of that order, and we'll come back to it. I will refer back to slide 4. Okay. 1 second, please. Now, the last point about the why is that the where other tools, right, like your empathy map, like your product vision statement, like your concept paper, like your vision document, where those other tools help you articulate and express the what, okay, what you are trying to achieve. The BMC, and I will use this, interchangeably. The BMC stands for the business model canvas, okay? The BMC, or the business model canvas, helps you communicate the how. So where those other tools communicate the idea, which is the what, the business model canvas helps you communicate the how. Okay, so if you say, I want to solve, for instance, in Nigeria, anybody who's older than, say, 5 years old or maybe 10 years old in Nigeria is probably very familiar with fuel scarcity, petrol scarcity. So take, for instance, someone wants to launch a new startup that will solve petrol scarcity or fuel scarcity in Nigeria, okay? That's the what. Now, the next question is, can you quickly demonstrate, quickly test that idea for viability? How can you do that? This is an excellent tool for doing that, and that's what I'm saying. So quickly build a model around that idea and see whether it's 6/10 viable, or, oh my God, this is a 10/10. I cannot wait. I have to chase this. So that's basically what that is. All right. Who's it designed for? Innovators, essentially. Okay. Innovators, who are the people who use the tool, and budget owners. So budget owners could be your HOD, could be your division head in your company, in your enterprise, could be the CEO of a startup, or could be the CEO of a multinational or conglomerate or corporate, as the case may be. So at the end of the day, 2 types of audiences. 1 is the people who will create the business model canvas, and 2, the people who will be the audience, for the business model canvas by the people who created them. All right. When is it useful? The business model canvas is useful at all times, okay? Now, the business model canvas is designed in such a way that one additional benefit is that you can create multiple versions, okay? Now, this is probably the first time I'm saying this in public. The startup that I'm just launching is creating a tech-based tool for people to manage different versions of their business model canvases and many other artifacts. So just imagine that, for instance, you're launching a startup in November of 2021, and you're launching it with a certain configuration of strategic elements, okay? So that's your business model canvas as at November 2021. For all intents and purposes, for as many reasons as we cannot enumerate right now, you may have cause to cycle through or iterate through many versions of that BMC, those business model canvas. By January, you may have a different version. By March, you may have a different version. By July 2022, you may have a different version. And so the business model canvas is a living document. So that's the value of the phrase all the time that I use there, right? So it's a document that you keep on updating based on market forces, competitive action, regulatory changes in your industry. As things change, you need to go back and reflect it on your BMC, because again, it's a 1-page document and there's less cognitive load as what you would have had to undergo if you were having to update a 150-page business plan like we used to do back in the day, we dinosaurs back in the day. Okay. So it's a really useful tool, and it just sets you apart sometimes when you're talking to some strategic stakeholders like investors, because they know that if you've taken your time to build, to create and express this, most likely you know how to think. Right. So where? everywhere, cubicles, boardrooms, anywhere that innovation happens, anywhere that ideation happens, everywhere. So the key question, the big question. Okay, so how do you create a business model canvas? So we're at the practical session now. I'm going to take us on the next slide. There's a link. I'm going to take us to my own Google Slides, and we're going to build a business model canvas for a fictitious business together. Okay. So just a few points to note. Number one, like I said, it is a free template. It was created by two Dutch gentlemen, the founders of a company called Strategizer. And secondly, there is an order. Okay. So let me just, yeah. So if you look at what you have on the screen, I have seen quite a number of pitch decks, okay, and I've seen quite a number of business model canvases. The work that I do exposes me to that kind of audience. There is nothing, okay, that's, and this is probably the most, one of the most important parts of this presentation. There is nothing that screams rookie to an investor or to a veteran innovation person, like an innovation expert or investor or an innovation judge or something like that. There's nothing that screams beginner rookie more than when someone tries to present the BMC, the business model canvas, and starts from the left side. Because all of us, it's kind of an assumption, right? It reflects an assumption because all of us, most of us that are English speaking, read from the left to the right. Okay, so many times when you just pick up this document without proper guidance and without proper introduction, you may just pick it up from the and just pick it and you start to fill it from the key partners section. If you do that, or you present it to investor audience of that investor, okay? So you need to keep this in mind. This is why I spoke about slide 4 earlier on. So there is an order. The order is customer segments, which is where, if you can follow my mouse, let me use the annotation button. So this is the customer segments, okay? And then you jump to value propositions, okay? So don't mind my scribbly handwriting. From value propositions, you describe your channels, okay? From channels, you describe your customer relationships. And then from customer relationships, you describe your revenues, okay? This is very important. If you have a question as to why they created it like this and hid and made it cryptic, right? That the order should be cryptic. Perhaps we'll have to ask the gentleman at Strategizer, but that is the order. There is an order. There's nothing that screams rookie as much as when an ideator, an innovator, someone who is trying to communicate an idea, the business model around an idea, starts presenting it from the partner's side. Okay, it just communicates a lot of things that, oh my God, all of that. So quickly, that's the right side. Now, let me not talk about the right side just yet. We'll get to that. So when you do that, when you start from the customer segments and you go to value propositions to delivery channels, marketing and delivery channels, and then to customer relationships, and then down to revenue streams, what you've just done is that you've described the front, what you call the front end of your business, okay? You've described how this business will make money, okay? So that is kind of, if you think about this, if I can change this color, yes. If you think about this as an invisible line, please permit my scribblings, okay? If you think about this as an invisible line, okay, this enclosure is what you call the right-hand side of the business model canvas. And that right-hand side is the front end of the business, answering the key question, how will this business make money? The key question, how will this business make money? Embedded in that question are how will customers interact with you? How will they discover your product? how will you deliver to them, how will you fulfill their orders, blah, 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 questions like how much will you charge them, blah, blah, stuff like that. Okay, so all of that is embedded in the right side. Again, these are strategic, high-level strategic elements. Okay, so that's the right side. Now, for the left side, you then, after having done the first 5, you then have the second half, which is, if I may use another color just for visual, just for visual distinguishing. So the left 4 sections is what's called the back end of your business. And what key question does the back end answer? The back end answers the key question of what will it take to make the money that you think you will make in the front end. Okay, so we'll come back to that. What's the sequence of segments for the left side? For the left side, you start from the key activities. So the key question is, what are the activities that you need to carry out in order to achieve all of these things? Okay, so you list out those activities. And then the next question is, in carrying out those activities, what are the resources that you need? Okay, in carrying out the activities as well, what are the key partnerships that you need? Okay, and then from the key partnerships, what are the big cost elements in what are the big cost elements? What are the major cost headers? What are the major cost items in your plan? So does that make sense? Can I get some kind of emoji or some kind of feedback in the chat so that we can go back to slide 10? I think that was slide 10. Was the eraser? There you are. All right. All right. So all of that was to explain point number 2 on this slide, okay, which is to say there is an order. So don't fall for that trap. Don't fall for that trap of presenting your BMC starting from the left side, starting from the key partnerships. In fact, the key partnerships is the second to the last item to talk about if you really, really want to deliver a sensible business model canvas presentation. All right. And then the last point there, we've already covered that there are 2 halves. There's the front end, there's the back end. There's the customer facing side, and there's the internal operations side. All right. Thank you. So this is what it looks like, straight from the horse's mouth, as it were, straight from the creator's website. And we'll take a look at it just now. So this is the link. I already have it open. I'm going to end this screen share and then share my browser window where it's already open. But basically, let me see if I can copy this, and I'm going to have to do that later. Okay, I'm going to have to do that later. So 1 second, please. One second, guys. To Google, and 1 second, I should be able to share now. Let me know when you can see my screen and what you can see.
Okay, we can see your screen, Idowu.
Awesome, thank you. So let me try and just for those who are itching, right? To participate live. Okay. I always like interactive sessions as much as possible. So I'm gonna drop the hyperlink. Copy that quickly. I'm dropping that in the chat right now so that everyone can, but you can also just follow me, and you have the templates for use for yourself later on. All right, so while we're doing that, can I ask someone to volunteer a business idea? Make sure it's not one of your team ideas. Okay, I see some people joining already. There's an anonymous doc. Make sure it's not one of your team ideas. Can you just unmute your mic and just tell us just give us an idea, a fictitious idea, and we're going to build this out in the next 5 minutes together. We're going to build this out in the next 10 minutes together. Okay, give us an idea quickly. Any idea? Anyone?
We can do for a lemonade stand.
Your voice is low. Who's speaking?
Durojai Phillips here. We can do a business model canvas for a lemonade stand. At least that one
A
is
lemonade,
universal.
a lemonade stand. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who's speaking, please? I didn't see your name. I'm in presentation mode.
Durojai Phillips.
Georgia, thank you.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Lemonade stand. Right. So let's do that. Okay. So remember my order. Remember the order that it's about. So you start from where? Now there is actually logic, right? There's logic to that order. Now this is, I have to really resist the urge to digress. Okay. There's something called solution. Okay, and I'm going to try and be as fast as possible. There's something called solution, and it's a risk that all smart people have or bear, and need to be careful of. Solutioning is what happens when, just imagine, a consultant joins a new conglomerate, right? An organization, maybe an enterprise, say telco, for instance, or a bank, right? Multiple layers of hierarchy, multiple layers of authority, multiple layers of politics, stuff like that. The consultant joins for a 12-month, for instance, maybe agile coaching project, okay? And on day one, the consultant, of course, because he's a consultant, is an expert in that particular field, say agile coaching, notices certain anomalies, or anti-patterns going on. Solutioning is when that consultant automatically just begins to recommend solutions with a superficial surface knowledge of the issues. And if you've spent some time in consulting, you will know that solutioning is the worst thing that can happen to a consultant, right? Because over time, you learn to appreciate the fact that for every problem that exists in any enterprise, there are what you call drivers to that problem. So there are things in the background. Sometimes those things are non-tangible. Sometimes they are political structures, they are power structures or authority structures. There's something called PDI, power distance index, and so many other things like that. Sometimes they are just the organizational structure, whether it's a flat organizational structure or whether it's a hierarchical organization. So there are so many considerations. It usually takes a new consultant at least a couple of weeks, which is why whenever I take on a new consultancy, I never, of course, it's a lesson I learned from the School of Hard Knocks. But solutioning is when you immediately believe that, when you immediately procure solutions recommend solutions without a deep, intimate understanding of the problems that are occurring and the drivers of that problem. Now, this makes all the difference in the world, and I'm going somewhere. Where I'm going is to say that many times ideators believe so much in the solutions that they have. However, what is more important is the problem that needs to be solved. If you understand the problem well enough and you understand the people who are experiencing the problem well enough, which is actually why we want to start with the customer segments, then you are in a better place, a better position, right? To recommend or advise or design solutions that can address those needs. Many times there are valid reasons why problems persist in people's lives and situations. And many times as an outsider, if you observe a situation from the outside and you imagine a solution and just go ahead to launch that solution, most likely you're going to run into trouble. And the kind of risk that you run is the risk of incompatibility, okay? Irrelevance or incompatibility, because the customer segments contains the vital information that you need, the vital context, right? For the problem that you need to design the right version of the solution that those guys will find compelling. Like I said, I really don't. I have a couple of examples that I could give, but I'm very, very conscious of time, and I'd like to stay on track. So let's start with our lemonade stand. Okay, so for this particular template, we can just say, am I correct? Okay, so we're titling our business model, we're giving it a title of lemonade stand, okay? And we're just going to go and start from the customer segment section. So if you go here and you double click on that rectangle, for those of you that are simultaneously logged on, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. You can just say, so what are the customer segments? I think it's already bulleted. You could say, who are the customers? So Durojai, was it Durojai? I think it was Durojai. The person that suggested the idea.
Yes, please.
Yes, Durojai. All right. So who did you have in mind? Who's your customer for that lemonade stand?
So I don't want to hog the mic.
Yeah, go on. Don't worry about that. You know. So let me just give us a hint. So a good hint to quickly populating your customer segment section is to think, what are the customer, who are the personas, what are the segments, what are the target segments, who are the personas, what are the customer archetypes, who are the, what does my customer typically look like? Now I'm going to assume that I hope that this is an advanced class, or rather I hope that this is a class of, I hope that this is a group of people who know the difference between, who know the value of segmentation, okay? So in ideation, right, in innovation, we always say that even if your product is going to serve everybody in society, you have two options, right? Option one is that you can design a marketing or customer communication strategy around, hello everybody, come and buy our products. That's scenario one or option one. Option two, you can, since your product is useful to everybody in the society, okay, you can also take an alternative approach and break up that so-called everybody, that term everybody, break it up into segments and say under everybody, there is an under 15 teenage and below segment. There is a young adult segment. There is a 15 to 20 segment. Then there is a young working class segment, okay? There is a, which is maybe a 20 to 30 segment. Then there is a middle class, getting ready for marriage and probably married segment. There is a 30 to 45 segment. And then there is a getting close to retirement segment, 45 to 65, and then there's a retired and senior citizen segment. By breaking up your market into that number of segments, what you've done essentially is that you've given yourself the power to create 7 targeted messages that are targeted at each of those segments. That usually has proven to be more effective than, not just for communication, for even ideation, for determining the specific value propositions that are useful to those segments. This second approach has proven to be more useful than just taking a blanket approach. So that's the reason why I just wrote personas there. So personas is not the technical answer, but I just used it as a guide. So for instance, we could have, so the reason why I asked Durojai Phillips to give us some kind of context is this a lemonade stand in a high school or an elementary school? Is it a lemonade stand in a university? Is it a lemonade stand in a trade fair? Is it a lemonade stand at Silverbird Galleria, at the movie complex, at the movie cinema? Okay, and so you see that just by defining the context, we have kind of started to limit who it is, essentially called segmentation. We started to define, even in a rough manner, who our target markets, our target segments are. I really need to run. Okay, we're still on segment 1. Okay, but I'm trying to be as thorough as possible so that I can take something away from this. So the customer segments, let's assume that this is for a university audience. I'm deliberately using the university audience because I think it's a more diverse audience than the lower educational sectors. Are you guys still with me? please let me know, just to know that my network is not out and that everything is fine. Just wave or give me an emoji or something. Okay. Hello, people. Am I still here?
Yes, you're still here, but your time runs out in few minutes, 3 minutes precisely. Yes.
All right. So let me see if I can work a miracle. Okay. So that's the excuse me. So if we use the tertiary, for instance, a university campus, okay, for instance, you would have for your personas students, right? For instance, in fact, you could have undergraduates, okay? You would have postgraduates, and you could say students, okay, because undergraduate in that context is an adjective. Undergraduate students, postgraduate students, faculty, okay, because I imagine faculty will also drink lemonade, right? And this is particularly the reason why visitors, okay, so visitors could be parents, could be, the general public. Can someone think of another one? Okay, so let me just rush. So this is an example of what your target customers, your customer segments could be. Now I said that from here, you jump to value propositions, okay? So value propositions. Now the trick with value propositions is there needs to be at least a one-to-one mapping between your customer segments and your value proposition. So this is the question, okay? Or this is the concept. The concept is you want to make sure that there's at least one value proposition in this region, excuse me, that relates or directly appeals to each of your customer segments. So for instance, what is the value proposition of lemonade? Can someone help me? Okay, because of time, I'm just going to write refreshment. Apart from refreshment, can I say vitamins? Vitamin replenishment. Is that correct? And so on and so forth. Okay, so let me just use those two. Okay, if you can think of another, please let me know. So we have undergraduate students, postgraduate students. So the thing, Rolando, are you saying something? Okay, please can you mute your mic? Thank you. All right. So customer segments to value propositions. Now the key thing is you want to make sure that there is at least one value proposition that maps to each of the customer segments. So we have a digital tool here. So let me just use this. Let me just show us how this works. So you think about each of your undergraduates, okay? Each of your segments. So you can think about undergraduates. Undergraduates will find refreshment appealing, right? Okay, that makes sense. They will also find replenishment, vitamin replenishment appealing, okay? So let's use another color for postgraduates. Postgraduates will also find refreshment appealing, and they will also find the other one appealing. So do you see the pattern? Okay. If we use another color, faculty, okay, the same thing. I know it's going to look clumsy, but just stay with me. And finally, let's use this one, visitors. So essentially, you can see that for this particular example, because it's a very simple example, everybody has the same set of value propositions. Typically, for instance, if you were building a mobile app for education, right? Ideally, there will be the teacher side, there will be the student side, there will be the government Ministry of Education side, and stuff like that. So ideally, their value propositions will not be the same. But just for the purpose of our example, we have used what we've used. All right, let me quickly take that out. All right, thank you. All right. So that's value propositions. Next, oh my God, this is always a template that I always leave there. I need to take that out. All right. So for channels, okay, you want to think about primarily what are the delivery channels? How will you deliver these products to the customers? Okay, how will you deliver value proposition, how will you deliver refreshments and vitamin replenishments to undergraduates, postgraduates, faculty, and visitors. Number one, you could have what do you call them, cups, okay, or bottles. Some may like handheld cups, takeaway cups, party cups, styrofoam cups. Others may like bottles. What other avenues there? Delivery, home delivery. So you could even break down this cups to, I'm trying not to overcomplicate it. Okay, so let's just stop at cups and bottles. Okay, all right. And then you want to talk about the relationships. Okay, so what are the types of relationships that you're going to have with your customers? Are you going to have a free product? Are you going to have what is called a freemium product? I'm going to, again, I assume that this is like a group of advanced ideators, innovators. I assume you know what freemium means. Are you going to have a subscription product? Okay, so are people going to pay you once per month and you will automatically deliver their orange juice, their lemonade juice to their desks in their classes every morning? Or are they going to pay you once a month and on their way to class, they will just pass through your lemonade shop and pick it up and go? There could be so many models. So as you can see, this is forcing us to think about so it's one thing to have an idea of a lemonade shop. It's another thing, which is the what, okay? It's another thing to think about how this idea of a lemonade shop will work in real life and in the context of where we want it to work and where we want to launch it. So that's that. And finally, for the right side, of the BMC, we have the revenue stream. So how will you make money? Are you going to make money from, again, you can have things like subscriptions, okay? Is it a transaction fee? Usually popularly called one-off, okay? Is it going to be is there a license fee? Many times when you sell software, in addition to whatever else you're selling, you also sell a license fee. And so on and so forth. So you list all of your revenue streams, and sometimes if you want to go detailed, you can even show your investor how the distribution of revenue. So you want to see that your subscriptions is where you're going to make 70% of your revenues and so on and so forth. So that was your—
Thank you. Thank you so much, Idowu. Thank you. We've run out of time, unfortunately. Right. I'm sure they will invite you back in their next program. This was a big eye-opening for everyone. And people have been writing, in the comment chat that they will need to have the slide afterwards so that they can learn further. And then somebody mentioned the Chesterton program. I don't know what that means. It was Eric, but we don't have time for us to take it. But again, the good news is that we are going to go into a breakout room. And in that breakout room, the mentors will take you through. So you will have yet another opportunity to fill out the canvas, and you'll be able to do so much in there. And the breakout room is going to be on for 45 minutes. So please get ready. And if you haven't put your name on the comment chart, please do so, because you wouldn't be included in the breakout without having your name there. So please kindly put your name if you haven't. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you, Idowu Akinde. It was a beautiful presentation. My eyes are still popping from all I have heard, and hopefully we'll be able to implement that, and so with all others. Thank you so much.
Ada, 1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but in the chat, participants are asking if we can give 5 more minutes to ID so he can finish, because there are the live with his presentation. If you all are agree, thank you.
I actually gave him extra 5 minutes. I actually did that. So I don't know, the facilitators, if you don't mind me taking another 5 minutes, but the first question to ID will be, are you done? Do you think you are done? And would you be able to wrap up in 5 minutes? Thank you, ID.
Well, obviously I wasn't done. I was just done with the right side, but I can quickly breeze through the left side, okay, which is the back end of the business, and try to be done in 5 minutes. I think
okay, with the permission of the facilitators, you have 5 more minutes, so take it on.
All right, this is fun. Google Chrome and share. Can you see my screen? All right, so I wasn't looking at the chat real time, but I saw a few comments, cops with straws, cyclists, joggers, hopefully maybe in the next iteration of this session, we can do that. All right, so if you remember what we did with if I could go back to that, where's annotate? All right, if you remember what we did with earlier with the right side and left side, what we've just done is that we've just filled out the right side, which helps us answer the question, how will our business make money? Okay, now this is probably not 100% accurate, okay, but it's a first version, okay, and again, this is a document that is a living document. So as time goes by, we will have the opportunity to update it. So now we're going to progress into the left side. So if you remember, I spoke about the right side, which is the front end of your business, and the left side, which is the back end of your business. So the left side, key activities. What are those activities now? What are those activities that you must perform in order to deliver value propositions that we've imagined for our target segment, target market? So key activities. Number one, I imagine there must be some kind of procurement of lemons, right? Or should I make lemons raw material? Oh my God, I'm rushing too much. What did I write there? Procurement. Yeah, that's that. Procurement of lemons. Okay. I'm sure there's some kind of processing of lemons. Okay. These are the key activities. There's some kind of marketing. Okay. There's some kind of sales activity, I imagine. Okay. There's some kind of order fulfillment, and so on and so forth. Okay, now again, we don't have a lot of time to spend too much, but this just gives you an idea what kinds of input goes into each segment. Now the next two are very easy to fill out: the key resources and the key partners. So you want to ask yourself, for each of these activities that you've listed out, okay, and sometimes you create a first version of a BMC. Now this is just a sideways tip. This is just a version. Sometimes you create your version of the BMC, and you're feeling cool, and you close your laptop or you close your notebook. Sometimes if it's paper, and you go away. But somewhere maybe you're driving one day or you're in the shower and you get an idea. Oh my God, I forgot this particular activity. Now what that means is the next time you come back to it, you come here, you update your activity, and by extension, you already know that you must update the resources and the partners, because the activities inform the resources and the partners. So let's quickly fill out the resources. So if you want to procure lemon, for the activity of procurement of lemons, you would need lemons, lemon farmers or lemon markets, right? Or lemons, okay? Lemons or money to procure lemons, okay? Processing, can we call that a lemon squeezer or a blender or something like that? I don't know what's used. I just like to drink lemonade. Marketing. How do you market? Do you want to do billboards, or do you want to do online digital marketing? Okay, or some kind of stuff like that. Okay. Order fulfillment. Do you want to engage a delivery logistics part? Let's not go to that just yet, okay? But let's just say you need logistics as a resource, okay? So related to resources is the concept of partnerships. So for instance, if you need to accept payments, okay, are you going to build a new Flutterwave or a new Paystack or a new InterSwitch just to collect payments for your lemonade stand? Most likely not. You're going to partner with an organization that is an expert at that particular vertical. So one of your key partners must be a payment, what do you call them? Payment aggregator, or whatever you call them, payment switch, whatever they're called. Okay, so I'm from this point in time. In me that likes detail, attention to this. So that's payment aggregators. What other partner? There's logistics partner there. I imagine that you're not going to go ahead and procure, for instance, bicycles or motorbikes or even delivery cars, right? Delivery vans, just because you want to deliver lemonade, right? I imagine that you most likely partner with, depending on the country you're in, the resident delivery logistics partner in that country. So you want to have that kind of partnership. What are the partnerships? Do you need a partnership? Do you need some kind of regulatory partnership or acknowledgement from the school authorities because you are sitting on campus? So university authorities, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'll just leave that like that. And then let's go to cost structure. So we already know that now, automatically, you already know that because this entire section is the back end, the activities will cost money. Okay, so you want to start to think about produce. Let me just call it produce. Okay, cost of produce. Okay, cost of what else? The staffing cost, okay, or personnel or payroll. Okay, there's what else is there? There's what else is there? There's equipment cost or infrastructure cost. There's, for instance, there may be a license that you need to pay to the university. Don't mind me. I'm just thinking, I'm just thinking crazy thoughts. So, but I'm sure you get my point. Okay. So if I may stop here because of time. At least this is a first version of your business model canvas. Thank you very much. Any questions? Let me check the chat. There are about 6 or 7 people logged in simultaneously. Okay, I don't think there's any question waiting for me. All right, guys. Am I good to go? Can you still hear me?
Yes, thank you so much, Idowu Akinde. The coach to coaches, you have proven that is what you are. Thank you so much. You can imagine that people didn't want to let you go, but because of the other programs yet to be done today, we would let you go, but I'm sure you'll be brought back sometime. Thank you so, so much. Without further much ado, we have the breakout session. And I hope...
I'm so sorry, Ada. So sorry to cut you, but I think Toriola's hand is up. I think he has a question. So Toriola, I believe we can take his question, yes?
Okay. Thank you, ID. So I want to ask, under key partner segments, can, like the lemonade stand part, can lemonade farmers, can they follow that key partners, or just people you want to maybe collaborate with to actually market or to make the business actually grow? So that's my question.
All right. So I think if in my network or yours, I didn't hear the part of the question. Who did you say? Who are you trying to verify as a partner?
Okay. So for example, taking the lemonade stand as a point of my point of talk, can lemonade farmers fall under key partners, or just for example, people that would maybe help you in terms of marketing, in terms of sales? Are they the only ones that should fall under key
Short answer, they do. Short answer, they are. They are partners, yes. Because there can be all sorts of partnerships. You can get partnerships that enable you to save costs or deferred payment partnerships from them. If you have good business with them, they can give you 60 days, 90 days, 120 days of payment or something like that. Let's not go into too much detail. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Idowu. I think Ada, we can then proceed to the breakout sessions now. Thank you very much. And for anyone else who has a question, so that in the interest of time, or if you would prefer, just put your questions in the chat and we'll definitely